Testifying before a courtroom full of people is an intimidating prospect for anyone, and for a child, it's almost hard to imagine. One family court in London has found a way to make that just a bit more manageable. Here with more from our studio at Western University in London, our Southwest Ontario Hub's editor, Mary Baxter. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Hi, Jayanne.
Now we're talking about Meryl the court canine. I want to know what made you want to report on Meryl the dog?
Well, just this January, I saw that Merel the dog had been nominated to be on the Mayor's Honour Roll here in London. And I wanted to find out more about Meryl.
Now we have a photo of Meryl the dog. She's super cute. You got to learn a little bit more about the services she provides. What'd you learn?
Well, Meryl is what is termed a court facility dog. So she helps children do things like testify or make statements or make victim impact statements. She's used for child witnesses and also for child victims. And youth, anyone who's under 18.
Now, there's a full gamut, of course, of court cases that happen. What kind of cases does Meryl help with specifically?
She helps with cases where a crime has been committed. So she might, for instance, the police might refer a child witness to the program that Meryl is a part of. Meryl is with the London Family Court Clinic Child Witness Program, and her handler is Rachel Braden, who coordinates that program. So Rachel would receive referrals from, as I said, police, for instance, Crown attorneys, and defense attorneys as well would have access to that service.
Now, you had mentioned youth. We don't hear much about child witnesses. Is it a common occurrence in the court system?
Well, it's a really interesting question because it really wasn't all that long ago, just the early part of the 80s, actually, that people still thought that children didn't make good witnesses. So, but thinking slowly changed. By the 1980s, some legislation had been passed that allowed supports for children and also for vulnerable people that would make it a little bit easier to get into that court experience, just to testify in court. So one of those examples might be closed circuit television rooms, so that the child witness would actually testify in another room and it would be broadcast into the court. And then that way the child doesn't have to face the person who is accused, which could be quite distressing in some instances. And so Meryl and her presence in the court is just a continuation of building those supports for children in the court system.
Who else can benefit from the dogs trained at Cambridge, the Cambridge organization?
Well, lots of people. The organization in Cambridge that trained Meryl, the name is National Service Dogs, and they have about 4 different programs that they use. So the court facility dog program, Meryl is one type of dog that they train. Dogs like Meryl, with just a slightly bit of different training, might be used in places like schools. They might, social workers might use them when they're working with young clients as well. The dogs are also used for people who live with autism, for instance, or people who are dealing with PTSD. They can provide support. So there's lots of different kinds of ways that dogs are being used to support people, obviously not just in the courtroom, but outside of the courtroom as well.
I imagine a dog that has, quite a loud temperament, is jumping up and down, may not be incredibly useful in a courtroom setting. How do the handlers train the temperament of these dogs?
Oh, yeah, can you imagine it if you had, as you say, a dog that's jumping up and down and barking every second? Actually, there's a legal consideration about that, because the supports that are used in the courtroom, if there's a support person, for instance, they can't speak at all. They have to be very quiet. They have to be very restrained. So the type of dog that is streamed into the court facility dog program, for instance, has to have a certain kind of personality or temperament. That's what they kind of spot first, and then of course be willing to be trained. They're conditioned actually right from being a puppy to accept this kind of activity, because it's actually really hard when you think about it with a dog to be that intense and have such a close relationship with essentially a stranger. And to stay in one position for a very long period of time is actually not all that natural for many dogs. So yeah, that's the kind of temperament and the training. So she has certain commands that she has to learn, but she has to learn basically how to be quiet.
Is there a particular breed that matches the type of personality that might be suited for this type of work?
The Labrador retriever cross, or Labrador retriever, for instance, is kind of like the main dog that they use at National Service Dogs. But you know, they do screen them out. There's going to be other ones that are going to be higher energy, but they're all working dogs.
Now, I want to know who can qualify for this type of service dog, and what's the process like?
There's usually a really long waiting list for these dogs, particularly when it comes to dogs that are helping children with autism. And there's been some people who have been on the waiting list for up to 4 years. But when they receive the dog, they actually don't own the dog. What happens is that National Service Dogs still owns the dog, but the dog comes and it will live with them, and you know, it's with the person or with the family for its working life, which is considered to be about 10 years. So, and they're given free of charge.
Well, a very interesting story. Thank you so much, Mary, for bringing that to us. Again, that's Mary Baxter from our Southwestern Ontario hub.
Thanks, Jayanne.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.